Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. As you may already know, this is our first video on the platform. As 6 high school students, our goal is very simple. We aim to help other high school students truly understand math and science. We know that these subjects can sometimes feel confusing or overwhelming, and as students ourselves, we often feel the same way. Additionally, we also understand that some teachers may not teach the way you want them to, or they're just simply bad at teaching. However, we learn that the more resources you take in from, the better understanding you'll have in that subject. By the end of our videos, we hope that you guys have a better understanding of the topic you want to learn. As a clear overview of our channel, we'll have different students teach the subjects that they're best at. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so one of the first things you'll ever learn in physics is how to solve for the order of magnitude, scientific notation, and units. We use the international system of units instead of the American one, which is in feet, yards, inches, pounds, etc. So we're going to start off with mass. So mass is typically written in kilograms. And then for length, it's written in meters. And for time, it's in seconds. Okay, so on tests, they love to give like a box, and then there's like a force acting upon it. And then they give you mass. So force is equal to mass times acceleration. So let's just say mass is 5 grams. Okay. Well, in order to solve for the force, we would first need to convert grams into kilograms. Now, how do we do that? Well, look at this chart. This chart is on the reference table. So we know that kilograms is equal to 10 to the power of 3. Now, what does 10 to the power of 3 mean? It means that there's 10 to the power of 3 grams in kilograms, which means there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So, how do we convert 5 grams into kilograms? Well, we do 5 over 1,000, which is 0.005 kilograms. So now we're going to move on to the order of magnitude. Okay, so what is the order of magnitude? The order of magnitude, it shows how large or small a value is through the power of 10. So for instance, we have 10 to the power of x is the exponent, and x represents the order of magnitude. This should not be confused with magnitude. Magnitude also shows how large or small a value is. However, it's specific. Here. Like for instance, I gave you the box and there's a force acting upon it, right? Force acting upon it. And some questions they like to ask, what is the magnitude of the force acting upon the box? And let's just say the magnitude is 15 newtons. That is a specific answer. Okay? So now let's move on to examples of order of magnitude. So if I were to ask you to find the order of magnitude of the average human lifespan in years, what would you say? So the average human lifespan would probably be like 60 to 80, I would say. All right, so let's work it from the bottom. Well, we have 10 to the power of 1 first. The order of magnitude is 1. So now we have 10 to the power of 2. The order of magnitude is 2. And now we have 10 to the power of 3. Order of magnitude is 3, and it equals to 1,000. Okay. So out of these 3 values, which one is closest to this range? Well, the order of magnitude of the human lifespan in years would be 2. because 60 and 80 are the closest to 100. However, if I were to give you a value from 1 through 49, right? The order of magnitude would be 1 because it's closest to 10. Okay? Now let's work with a different example. Okay, now, if I were to ask you to find the order of magnitude of the width of a human finger, what would you say? So we know that the width of a human finger is like around 1 centimeters, right? And centimeter is length. And we would need to convert length into meters. So through this reference table, through the chart, we know that centimeters is 10 to the power of negative 2, right? And length is, and meters would just be 1. Okay? So we multiply that and we get 10 to the power of negative 2. So, and it's 10 to the power of x, so we know that x is negative 2. Negative 2. Okay, so let's try harder problems regarding these units. So we have 3.4 kilometers per second, right? And we want to convert it into meters per second because seconds is correct and we need to convert kilometers into meters. Okay, so how do we do it? So first, we know that this value needs to go up because kilometers is bigger than meters. So think about it this way. We have big chunks here, big chunks, right? And then just have little chunks over here. Okay? They both equal the same. However, there's more of these little particles than these big ones. Okay? Think about it that way. Okay? So kilometers is 10 to the power of 3, right? 10 to the power of 3. So we would multiply 3.4 times 10 to the power of 3, which is 0.4. Well, you could just leave it like this and it still would be correct. Some people like to multiply it out and just like that, but they're both correct. Now we're going to move on to the next question. This question is going to be a little harder. It's going to be a little more difficult. So we have 3.4, again, kilometers, but this time it's per minute. So we need to convert minutes into seconds. And we want to convert kilometers into meters. Okay? So first of all, we'll just convert kilometers to meters first. So we do 3.4 times 10 to the power of 3, right? Meters per minute. Now, to convert minutes into seconds, we'll have to divide by 60, right? So minute over 60 equals second, right? So we would just divide everything by 60, and we would have 3.4 times 10 to the power of 3 over 60 meters per second, which also equals to 5.667 times 10 to the power of 1 meters per second. We have 3.4 gigameters per hour. Okay, we know that giga is 10 to the power of 9, so we do 3.4 times 10 to the power of 9 meters per hour. Okay, I want to convert hours into seconds. Right? So we know that there's 60 minutes in an hour, and we also know that there's 60 seconds in a minute. So what we would do here is multiply both sides by 60, and we would get 3,600 seconds, right? So we would do 3.4 times 10 to the power of 9 over 3,600 seconds, which equals to 9.44 times 10 to the power of 5 meters per second.